went over to the pond pretty early the morning of May 21st, and the first thing I saw was the great blue heron. The bullfrog was sitting under the river birches. Walking a little further, I came to the hawk's nest. There were these two on the nest, and there was one in the tree nearby. It's pretty obvious that at least one chick is hatched in that nest, and it looks like it's growing pretty good. The rainwater pool is almost empty. We've had almost no rain and not much in the forecast. That's all that's left of it. But despite its greatly diminished size, the rainwater pool is still full of life. This is predominated by snails, but there's all kinds of little things floating around, and I think you see an occasional tadpole swimming in there. Most of the tadpoles seem to be left in these tiny isolated pools that are drying up quickly. But in them you see the classic little tadpole city. I offer up a variety of shots at different magnifications and from the different pools that are around the pond's edge, all of them drying quickly. The main part of the pond has almost no tadpoles, so it's a kind of interesting dilemma to watch them and study them, knowing that the pools they're in are going to disappear. But they still are fascinating to watch, and I love to watch these little accumulations with the constant motion. I'm not enough of an expert about Fowler's toads to know why, but the Fowler's toad tadpoles seem to have an exceptional affinity for the very shallowest water. It could be that's where the sunlight is strongest, it's warm, there's more vegetation, there's more bacteria and algae on the vegetation for them to eat. I like this shot because it not only shows the tadpoles, but it shows the small creatures in among them. I don't know exactly what they are. I always thought they were isopods. People tell me there's something else. But whatever they are, they're just these fascinating tiny, tiny creatures that on bright sunny days show up pretty nicely in the video. Now, who's that? This shot is from the edge of the biggest pool. It's not an isolated pool, this is the main pool. And look at how little there is on the bottom compared to some of the isolated pools. It's kind of fascinating. It's also the other end of the pond. I don't really know where they were breeding this year, but everything is different. This little pond is also isolated and seems to be a somewhat different ecosystem than the previous ones. This is what it looks like at about the limits of magnification. Beyond this, it just gets too blurry to see anything. But, you know, between the waving tentacles, the little things swimming, the insects, the snails, it's a pretty wild place considering how small it is. I went back by the big pond on my way home. The muskrat sat there for me in a way it never has before. It's sitting right outside its den, and when I refocused on it, it dove right into the hole. And I finished my morning by looking at the turtles, all 14 of them on the log.